Welcome to another episode of Bella in Your Business. My name is Bella Vasta, and today we have a completely different episode for you. I'm very excited. I have a Becky with Paws Around Motown with me, who you may have heard of me talk about a lot. I lovingly call her my unicorn. And Becky's been on the podcast a couple of times, but today we're going to do something different. We're going to do a little bit of a coaching call. So if any of you guys have been thinking about jumping on with me, I always tell you to do a 20-minute call. Go to jumpconsulting.net/20. I've had some of you say to me, oh my God, I can't believe you actually booked me. You actually wanted to talk to me. And I'm like, yes. So this is your personal invite right now. If you've been on the fence or we haven't talked before, I love meeting you. Now, if we've met before, I also do intensives, which we've done tons of more intensives than I could probably imagine or think about or remember rather with Becky. And we started back in 2020 or 2021. Becky, when did we start? And tell the audience, for those who might not know you, who you are, where you are, what your company is.
I'm Becky Lee. I am the owner of Paws Around Motown, which is just outside of Detroit, Michigan. So we serve all of Metro Detroit. And I believe I hopped into the Bella Sphere about 2020.
Uh-huh. I remember you came in like a firecracker. Like all of a sudden, it was like life before Becky and life after Becky. You just came in like gangbusters. And I remember you were so active and just doing everything, soaking everything up. Your excitement was exciting to me. And it's never stopped since then. I think you first started with the mastermind, right? Let's see. And then we did a intensive where I was coming to, was it Chicago? And you came
Yeah.
down to Chicago to see me, right?
Yeah, I drove down from Michigan. And yeah, was an avid podcast listener of yours, and
Yeah.
then heard about the mastermind, jumped into that, jumped into intensives, and jumped into Better Marketing with Bella.
Yeah. You know what's actually uncanny right now is one of the beauties of the mastermind is we have this thing called the file, and you start off with like an introduction of who you are and what your goals are, and that's dated. So I just looked it up, Becky, and it was Saturday, July 6th, 2019.
Oh, wow.
So we've been doing this for about 5 years, and your old 90-day goals are on here. I'm just kind of looking through them. Actually, I should probably share a screen with you.
That's
Um,
half the life of my business.
Oh
Five
my
years.
gosh. And that's why I love these things here too, because you really get to see how far you've come. Because it's kind of like a business diary. And here you were like, finish the website, um, cancel QuickBooks, remove time to pet integration. Let's see, get set up on the 40 40 40 30 rule or some variation. Oh my gosh. This is training center acquisition, grand opening, website rebrand. Isn't this amazing how far you've come?
Yeah, that's so old.
I know. I know. This is amazing. Put together a press release, research. Oh my gosh. So amazing. So Becky, over the years, I mean, you have become, you opened up a center and then you closed the center because you realized that you didn't need it anymore, really.
Yeah.
And you guys focus on dog walking. You've been in the mastermind program too. And what we're currently talking about was your client love strategy. Can you explain to the listeners why we need a client love strategy and what that means? Because I think it's a part that a lot of people forget, and maybe even go into how that also relates to an employee love strategy.
Yeah. So we talked in the mastermind actually about two books, both written by Joey Coleman,
Yep.
and jumped on those. Joey Coleman came in and did a free training on the 100 days, the employee love, never lose an employee again. And before that, we did never lose a customer again. And we talked a lot about how customer service is reactive and customer experience is proactive. So one of the things that Joey talks about in his book is the need to have all of these touch points within the first 100 days of client acquisition because they're still kind of on the fence. And
Right.
so it helps build that kind of trust and loyalty and letting the customer or client know that like how important they are to you and how much you love them basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to pull up the thing that we were working on, because we had left off working on, and I'd like to chat with you a little bit about that today, and maybe you'll inspire some people. Is that actually someone in the mastermind was just I won't give out her name, but I was just replying to her today because she was like, I feel like I'm losing touch with my employees, and I want to start having like 2 team meetings a month, and I'm like, "Oh, that's gonna get old fast. That's gonna burn everyone out. Don't do that." But it was more like, "Why?" Right? And so we were talking about client love, which is every time we talk about client love, you guys can think of this as employee love too.
Well,
And
prior to that, we did the employee love. So I
yeah.
have that sequence built already.
Okay, just all right, maybe this isn't gonna be a coaching call because this is just gonna be a chat because
Oh,
this
sorry.
is it's too hard not to because you are so fun. Can you tell everyone what your very first step is when someone new joins your team and they're like on their first day? You guys are going to be blown away because this is how jumpers jump. Take it away, Becky. This is amazing. I'm so proud of you.
So we have a 10-step hiring process to get them invested kind of through that. And then um, once they get hired and are starting employment, before they come in, we have them fill out a My Favorite Things form. And the first question on it is if you had walk on music, what would it be? And so they tell us, we have them put the song title and the artist. And so when they arrive on their first day, as many people as we can get together, we meet at our office and we actually make like a welcome sign. We give them, based off of that, My Favorite Things, we purchase a welcome gift. So they get like a little bag of goodies of their favorite things. And they kind of pull up, they see us with the sign out there and we're dancing, playing to their walk on music. And then when they get out of their car, they walk up and they're like, oh my God, that's my song. That's my music. And it's funny because I have people tell me, like, oh my God, this is the best first day of a job I've ever had. And this is so fun. And so we do that. And now we're kind of even branching into, we're going to do some type of a 90-day celebration. So we're kind of developing that out right now. So yeah, we do that, and then we actually do. You had mentioned someone saying about getting together. We don't do a meeting every month, but we do, and not during peak season. We do a fun event every month. So we'll do employee game night or Nerf gun fights or whatever. But so to kind of keep it as a touch base for the team because they never see each other. When they know each other, they're more apt to help each other and to really exemplify teamwork and being team players. And so it works really well and it's really fun.
I just love it so much because how can you say that you want someone who is a team player if you're not cultivating teamwork, right? Or how can you say that you want someone who's vested in your company if you're not vesting in them other than giving them a stale handbook and training manual, right? And
Yeah.
like, did you check the schedule? I mean, and truly in this world, people want to know it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs that they're loved and that they're seen, right? And I love how you do that. And you don't stop there because these premises, I always say, like in marketing, um, marketing for clients is the same thing as marketing for pet sitters, right? It's the same exact thing. Just people for some reason don't think about marketing for pet sitters. They only think about marketing for clients. And all of this stuff, first of all, is very social media worthy. If you go check out her social media, you'll see her staff everywhere. Um, but it also translates to clients. And like you said, a lot of people aren't as proactive because they're burnt out, stressed out, or whatever. But the thing is that once you have the system, it's just a matter of pressing play on the system or putting the person involved to make the system work, right? Can you tell
Yeah.
us more about how developing these processes has helped you, but then also what sorts of things have you done that you think are kind of like uncanny or different that have made a difference in your business for the client love process of all this?
Oh, we do a lot of like little personal touch points. So, it starts from the time we have our first interaction. Once they become a client, we send a handwritten card to them in the mail. Um, but then we have all these little touch points along the way. So one touch point is email with the subject line for Fido only. So it's this email that they open that's addressed to their dog, and it's literally a video of me saying, "Hey, this message is for Fido. Can you, Fido? I just want you to know I love you so much. I love you. You're such a good boy. Oh, you're amazing, buddy. You're so pretty." So the cute way that we talk to pets, it's a video for their dog. So if you know me, there's no shame in my game. Like I will jump on and talk about, I don't care how I look or what I'm doing, but I'll jump on and talk about anything. So we do like a touch point like that. We do like after a certain amount of days, a personalized gift for the dog. So what we decided was, because we have a lot of clients that don't put a towel by the door, to clean up their messy pet, we're doing monogrammed dog towels. So it's the dog's name with
Okay, I
puff.
haven't heard this yet because I
Yeah,
know you were trying to,
this is
last we
new.
talked and when we were building all this out, that's not something that I heard of yet. And I love that is such a good idea. And guys, I think where a lot of people would make the mistake is they would do a logo towel that
Yeah,
says pause around. That is, and Joey says it all the time. Giving someone something that has your logo on it is not a gift. That
it's
is
not
a
a gift, it's
promotional
swag.
item. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful, who has a monogram towel of their
Yeah.
dog?
So that way they
Okay.
have a special microfiber towel that's monogrammed, and they can keep it by the door for their pet. And that helps us, helps them.
If
And it's
you're not
something.
watching this right now, my jaw is dropped. Okay. I love, that's one of the reasons why I love working with you, is because we allow this creative space to work, you know, and this creative energy to happen. And oh, that's such a great idea.
Yeah, we had talked about finding like a link, finding a regular item like on Etsy or somewhere like that. And so
Yes,
actually, because I
supplier.
always take what I work on with Bella, I take and I pair it with what she's taught me.
Yeah.
So we learned a lot about AI
Oh
during the
yeah.
month of July. And
Uh-huh.
so I plugged it into the gift concierge in Magi, like the 10 best gifts with where to buy them,
Hmm.
and with a link to it.
Yep.
And my managers and I went through it, and that's what we decided on. So,
I love it. See,
yeah,
because you don't even have to, like, we're in the age, and let's go into that a little bit, Becky, because I don't think the majority of our industry, and I'm not putting the industry down, I would say the world doesn't understand that AI is here. It's not coming, it's here.
yeah,
And it is one of those things where it is going to put many people out of a job. I have a friend who actually is making like multi-million companies save tons of money because she's like literally systemizing stuff. There, it's not just chat gpt, guys. It's like, I mean, the update on the iPhone that just came out this week, 18.11, is Apple Intelligence, which is amazing in itself. They branded that. I talked about that when they announced that, I think at the beginning of the summer. And you don't have to think anymore, or you don't have to come up with the ideas. You just
you
need to know
have
the
to
right
think because you
prompts.
have to prompt it. So you have
Yeah.
to think. Um, you have to develop and teach it and
You
train
have
it,
to critically think. You
just
have
like
to,
any other system.
whatever input you get is the output. So if you're getting crappy output on AI, it's your input is terrible. But the thing is that when you realize when you're doing it so much that you can systemize it. And one thing I've been telling a lot of people, Becky, is that it doesn't have feelings, at least right now.
No,
And
it does
and you
definitely
can
does
tell
not.
it no over and over and over again. So for all those people pleasers out there, you don't have to people please. You're like, no, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I want. But then you
It's
have to
not constant.
learn to reprocess what you want, and you need to articulate What do you want? It's like Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, like
Uh,
I'm constantly like, that's way too cheesy.
yeah,
Take this out, add this,
yeah,
think about this, and then it'll spit out a new version, and you kind of have to keep
yeah.
finessing
And
it.
once you get to the version that you like, then the key to that is to say, okay, now taking this last one, what would be a prompt that I could put in to get this output essentially? Like what's the tone? What's the da 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 da? Or sometimes you can ask it like, hey, I want to do XYZ. What questions do you need to ask me first
Mhm.
before we start doing this? And it'll give you a whole bunch of questions. And one of my I don't know if you do this, Becky, but what I like to do is if I'm at my desktop, I'll go back and forth between my phone because on my phone I can talk.
Yes.
I've literally had 40-minute conversations with Susie. I call her Susie
Okay.
while I'm walking and talking. And we've developed blog articles, like all of it. I'm like, here's the keyword. I need the meta description. I want you to make it personal to this area. You know, like we're doing probably like 24 blogs a month right now for clients, but
Wow.
it's so specific to their area and they're getting like traction from it. And what do I know? I don't know anything, but I know how to leverage it to get it, you know?
You're soon to have 24 because I'm about to sign up for that.
Yay! They're actually a lot of fun to do. And then, okay, let's go on that. Like something I've been doing a lot of, and I know you do it. For example, we'll take the Santa pauses as an example. It's the beginning of December. We're talking about this right now. And so just to encourage everyone, think about like what's coming up next quarter as you're listening to this and what kind of blogs that are like or information can you correlate in your area that is then worthy of value and sharing. And when I mean that, I mean like, okay, we have the Santa Paws blog that we did 2 weeks ago, right? But you know what we're doing? We've already shared it, but now we're doing like this morning I did with one of my clients. Hey guys, so this one and this one is coming up this weekend. Are you going? Here's a link to the rest of them. And that goes back to your website. And so it's something that you get to keep talking about and talking about and talking about. You can email your clients and say, hey guys, let's all meet up at the Santa Claus event this weekend. Come with me. It is something that you can beat to the death. And and it doesn't have to just be Santa Claus. It can be any time of year, but you just have to like figure that out. But again, you don't have to write any of it. You don't have to research any of it. I mean, funny story, Becky. I had one client, right? And we had like 6 locations. And one of them, I couldn't find it online. So I was like, you might want to check this one. I don't know if it's accurate that they're doing Santa Paws this year. I could find it for last year, but not this year. So she emailed them, she called them. We didn't find anything. So I was like, you know what? Let's just take it off, you know? So we just took it off. 3 days later, they email her back and say, oh, yeah, we're doing it. How did I know about it? AI knew about it, and I couldn't even find out about it, but AI
Whoa.
knew it was happening in 2024. It was crazy.
Wow.
And so I'm like,
Nuts.
all right, point 1 for the bots, 0 for Bella. I think when we first started this, you found in Magi, it's called personas. There's this thing called GPTs where they're like personas, you know. So you want someone to create a rap for you and you rapped online. I loved that one. But now
So,
the
you know
biggest
what I
thing is
did
agents.
recently?
Tell me.
I did a Thanksgiving poem. I had it write a Thanksgiving poem for pet parents, and I
I
read
love
the
it.
poem on social media.
Oh, I didn't see that one. That's awesome. Did you email them too? Or
No,
just
I
social
should have.
media? Yeah, you should have
I
emailed
never
it
think
out to
about
them.
doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way because you'll get more people seeing it. Fun fact. Email will always outperform your social media. You know,
Mhm.
like more of your clients, everything will see the emails. Don't be afraid to send multiple emails if it's like fun and entertaining like that. You
Sure,
know, I mean,
do
that's
that.
what that's another touch point, like we were talking about before, you know, it's proactive. It's not just thank you, I love you, thank you for Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for you. It's like a freaking poem, which I'm sure was like off the hook.
I'll tag you on it so you can see it.
Please do. Please do. Yeah. So I actually am thinking of opening up a ton of AI classes next at the beginning, like first quarter. I'm working
Yeah.
on some because when everyone zigs, I zag, right? Like I like to kind of be like new and stuff, but I'm also really excited about it. Like I use it every day and I'm learning about it every day. I listen to AI podcasts and I have a couple of friends that are really big in it, built like $1 million companies.
Right.
Um, And so it's just fascinating to me. It's
Oh,
absolutely
can I
fascinating.
just tell you
Tell
one
me.
of the tips you gave me? I think it was on our recent coaching session, um, was about when somebody compliments a team member, asking them for a review
Oh, yeah.
and tipping. We've gotten five-star Google reviews this week from that initiative. So when people have complimented, we've been like, "Hey, would you mind writing a review and mentioning that person?" And the company will tip them $10.
Yep.
And then like 4 minutes later, it's up.
Yep.
So I just thought that was really cool to
Yeah.
happen in 1 week from that.
So guys, to walk that back, you could do it one of two ways. One, like Becky's saying, when people are like, "Oh my gosh, you guys were so great," and they're like, "Awesome!" Like if you could put that on a Google review, we'd be happy to tip your pet sitter $5 or $10, right? And I experienced that by some vendor, and I was like, "That is brilliant!" And so I was telling Becky about it. But you also could do, if you really wanted to boost your Google reviews, and people do this one certain way, and people don't normally do it, but people love to feel like they're helping, and especially when it's not coming from their own wallet. And you just you just email blast everyone. Now would be a really great time because it was just Thanksgiving, like we're all grateful for you. And if you're grateful for any one of our team members, we'd be happy to tip them $5 or $10, whatever you want to do, in your honor for mentioning them in a Google review. Here's the link to our Google reviews. Now it's not just like self-serving. Now you're like literally asking people to do that. I'm so happy that you got 5 out of 5. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and your team loves it.
Oh god, yeah. Well, again, it's another point. It's another way to make these people be like, "I love Becky. I don't want to work for anyone else other than Becky." You now have created a culture, Becky, and this is why I have so much respect for you. That goes from a side gig job where it's just like a pass-through job to you really created this bond with between your staff and with you and your management. And I know that, like, when I'll never forget doing the phases with you, like, on the wall and building them out, and you're like, "Oh my god." And then you went to, being pretty much out of that 10 phases until the end, and now you're, like, not even involved in the hiring anymore.
No, I haven't
And
even met half of our staff yet.
oh my gosh. Guys, and when you're doing this and when see, Becky is a creative. Becky is she's not how do I say, like, and I don't want to say this meanly, like I don't mean this. I mean this as like a tribute to you. Becky is a creative, right? She's like me. She's like an organized chaos. Like we have piles of stuff places. It's not alphabetized or color coded, but it's like but she puts it to action and she flows with it. And I've loved watching you grow and develop and do all of this because there was one point where you were doing the video, and I think it was like you were like, "No, we need to have a video in the hiring." And so many people drop that off after one person is like, "Boo-hoo." But tell everyone what your response was. You got a boo-hoo to that recently.
I did get
And
a
you
review.
guys, she handled this incredibly. Becky, what did you do when someone was like, "Why do I have to do a video?"
So someone basically responded to the email we sent out requesting the video, something like, this is a bunch of BS that you're giving me this BS question that is impossible to answer. Like, why should I not hire you? What if I asked you, uh, why should I work for you? And so I hemmed and hawed over it in my mind. And at first I was going to just send her a video, but then I thought, I don't want this to get shared without me owning it. And I don't want it manipulated in any way. So I'm just going to take it to the company Instagram.
Mhm.
So I did a first video prefacing that step of the hiring process and why we do it. And then the next video, I said, so challenge accepted. Here's why you wouldn't want to work for me. And I just went on about if you fear diversity, if you fear an all-inclusive team, if you don't want to get slobbered on and kissed by animals every day and have emotional support animals, then this place probably isn't for you. And I kind of just went on for the 60 seconds that we require the video.
Mhm.
Um, I made a video about why you wouldn't want to work for me. And yeah, so
It was one of the most brilliant things I think I've ever seen a pet sitter make before in my life.
but I had to make
Um,
it like 20 times so that I was because I wanted to be,
I remember you saying you
upbeat
didn't
and
want to sound
positive, and
snarky. Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to come off with the tone.
I think it's amazing because I mean, you could literally use that in that stage when you say, please send us a video. And if you're wondering what that looks like, or if we, have skin, you probably say it a funnier way because that your brand does use punnies. But you want to see how we would answer this. Here's, a link to our thing. And now you honestly have no excuse for not checking out your social media and learning more about the company
Yeah.
before you get to the, thing. And then that also shows them who the owner of the company is. Like
We
it's
do a lot of reels, social media reels links in our hiring process to like
oh,
show
love it.
examples and to show what is our culture like and
Love it.
things like that. So every step of our hiring process, they're getting an email, and most of those have links.
And the
Um,
beautiful thing is that you've empowered other people to do this. It's not like it dies if you go to your cabin for a month like you do and you don't work for a month because you've worked hard to build those systems so that doesn't
taking
rely
3
on you.
months this in 2025, I'm taking 3
Of
months.
course you are. Absolutely. You go, girl. So you guys listen, if you're Becky, I won't even I filibuster. I can talk so much. Becky, what would you say to someone listening right now who might be like, it's the holidays and they're stressed and maybe they're like really pissed off at themselves, honestly. They want to be pissed off at the world, but they're pissed off at themselves because they're in the same fucking position that they were this summer and last year. And they feel like they just can't get ahead and you feel like a frying pan hit your face and you're tired and you got cortisol levels are high and you want to cook for yourself, but you're just going through drive-through every day, which is adding to the problem because you're tired and you have people calling you and you can't seem to hire fast enough and you lay awake at night and you just think if one person quit, my whole house of cards is going to crumble and everyone's going to figure out who I am. Speak to that person right now because I've been there and I know you've been there. So like not maybe not even to that person, but what would you say to yourself when you were at that stage, knowing what you know now?
It will get better if you put the work into it. So I started by doing things during my slow period. So I started by making changes and thinking and working on these things like during February because we were slowest, and I mean not so much anymore, but we used to be slowest in like January, February. And then make like a goal. So 90-day goals are great because if you can make it and break it down for yourself into smaller bite-sized pieces, then you can just check it off or tick it off a thing at a time. I think if you're like me, you have a tendency to I think actually about post. I don't even think about uh, the now, the where this is going, the what. I think about what this is 3 months from now. And so I have a tendency to get very overwhelmed because of
Mhm,
that. So if you can
mhm.
streamline your thoughts, it just starts with building a system. With AI, you can now have a technical writing partner write your SOPs, your systems, your processes for you. There's so many organizations that can help you. Bella can totally help you. I mean, when I started, my husband found Bella's podcast for me it was 5 or 6 years ago because I was in that place. So he was
Yeah.
looking for things to help me. And he's like, you really should listen to this. This podcast is great. And I started listening and I just found all this new kind of energy off of that. So you can always go back and change things, right? If you
Mhm.
just
Yep.
record yourself talking and have it transcribe what you say and then break it down into manageable steps even,
Yeah.
but we've
That's a
all been there.
That's a really good point because I mean, like when we started the mastermind, like you had to come up with your goals, right? You had to try to figure it out. And you could just do a whole brain dump in AI and be like, break this into a 90-day goal. Like, what should I focus on, when and where? It's like, I need to do a lesson on that in the mastermind now that I'm thinking about it. And
Yeah.
the other thing is like, I think what I also hear you saying, or it reminds me of Becky, is that you only have to be 1% better today than you were yesterday. If you could focus on one thing. And sometimes that could just be eating breakfast.
Yeah.
Like That's it, and then celebrate. What was the
Yep.
number one thing we celebrated? I was like, "We're gonna celebrate when you get this," and she has a tattoo celebration. She got a tattoo. I sent you, a candle, right, that said, "I'm getting a
Yep.
tattoo?" Yeah.
Yeah. Pink glittery one.
Cool, yeah, I mean, it's you.
But if
Um
you make one small change a day, I still make one small change a day. So yesterday I started going to bed 1 hour before I want to be asleep and I
Mhm,
brain dump. So I have a pen and a notebook on my nightstand and I brain dump everything that's swirling around my head that would cause me to stay awake. I'm dumping it out onto paper. And then I have a to do list for the next day. By doing that, I just do it for 10 to 15 minutes. So just
yeah,
that one small habit,
yeah,
look where
and
you
then it
go.
gets out of your brain and not sitting there, like, swirling around at night.
And I've got half the list done already today.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, I could talk to you forever. And I really appreciate your time coming on here and stuff and just,
And
talking it
don't
out.
compare yourself to somebody else.
Amen,
Compare
sister. Can you say
yourself
that
to you.
louder? Say it louder for the people in the back.
Do not compare yourself to anyone else. Compare yourself to you,
Yep.
yourself.
Yep. I can't stress that enough. And I learned that personally hardcore when my daughter was in NICU and we couldn't compare her to any of the babies. It was just, is she better today than she was yesterday? And it's so true. Because if you're trying to chase other people, you're always going to lose.
Yes,
You are. So, Becky, thanks for coming on. Again, you guys go check out Paws Around Motown. You definitely want to check out their Instagram and search through their reels and get some ideas. I'm sure Becky won't mind if you share some of those ideas or anything.
I
Um,
don't mind at all.
yeah. Becky, thank you for being such an inspiration to me and to others. I appreciate your time being on here. You guys remember when life gets you down, always keep jumping. Bye now.